And in The Merchant of Venice, there's this dialogue from Shylock. Shylock, it happens to be a Jew in the story. And the accusation today is Shakespeare was anti-Semitic because of the way he treats this Jew within the narrative. And this is really a key point. Shylock comes to this point and he says, they have disgraced me. They have hindered me. They have laughed at my losses. They have mocked at my games. They have scorned my nation. They have thwarted my bargains and cooled my friends. They've hated my enemies. And what's the reason? Now he says in this play, because I'm a Jew. But you could substitute in there, because I'm Italian. Because I'm from Ecuador. I'm Peruvian. I'm from Thai, I'm Vietnamese, I'm Chinese, I'm Ukrainian, I'm Hungarian. Where in the world does Linthicum come from? Right? You could name anything and the moral perspective of this story remains intact. And to call Shakespeare a racist, or actually, excuse me, an anti-Semite, right, because he's pointing at a Jew who fills the story and plays the part, is absolutely ridiculous. Shakespeare is talking about a ethical, judicial, moral perspective on how do we treat people. Listen to what Shylock says next. He says, hath not a Jew have eyes? In other words, doesn't a Jew have eyes? And now strike out Jew. Think about it. Don't I have eyes? Don't I have hands? Don't I have organs, dimensions, senses, affections, and passions? Am I not fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as anyone else? Now this is a moral perspective, so why are we hammering that Shakespeare was an anti-Semite when he's really describing the oppressed or the individual who's being picked on, instead of thinking about this? He's describing a judicial perspective. He's describing equity. If there was ever an equity challenge, that's it. In fact, Ben Carson made those same arguments. I'm a brain surgeon. And when I cut open everybody, the blood inside their body it's red. And how does he know that? He knows that because of science. He knows that because of observation. He knows that because of experience. And people are willing to point at, Joe in Huck Finn was a slave, and therefore, throw it out. And it's like, this is ridiculous. You could change those parts. You could make Huck Finn an indigenous person who tricked a white guy into painting the fence, and the moral value of the story could be identical. Because we're not talking about skin color. Why not? Martin Luther King told us, it's not the color of our skin. He says, I have a dream that my 4 children will grow up in a world where they're not judged by the color of their skin, but they're judged by the content of their character. This is exactly where we have to bring ourselves to. You have to be able to repeat this argument to the school board. You have to be able to tell these guys they're off their rockers, they're out to lunch, and they are going to ruin our children and make one group an enemy and one group a hero, and politics has no business here.